Few WWE superstars embody the word resilience quite like Seth Rollins. Over the course of his career, Rollins has reinvented himself time and again, from his days as the architect of the Shield, to his run as the Kingslayer, to his flamboyant visionary persona. And yet, despite the accolades, the championships, and the moments that define modern WWE history, Rollins has never been shy about expressing one undeniable truth. At the end of the day, he feels alone. This sense of isolation took center stage recently in a powerful backstage promo, where Rollins peeled back the layers of his eccentric character to deliver one of the most heartfelt and raw messages of his career. What began as a typical WWE interview segment quickly transformed into an introspective monologue that blurred the lines between performance and reality. A window into the mind of a man who has been both celebrated and vilified, but rarely understood. The scene, a quiet, tense backstage moment. The promo didn't happen under the bright lights of the ring or with the pomp of Seth's usual theatrical entrances. Instead, it unfolded backstage, dimly lit, intimate, and stripped down. Without the roar of the crowd or the blare of his iconic entrance music, fans were presented with Rollins the man, not just Rollins the character. Dressed in one of his trademark eccentric suits, the bright patterns contrasted with the seriousness in his voice, symbolizing the duality of his persona, flamboyant on the outside, conflicted on the inside. His tone wasn't laced with arrogance or villainy, nor was it drenched in forced optimism. Instead, it carried the weight of a man reflecting on years of choices, rivalries, and betrayals. Seth's message was clear. Despite his success, he feels isolated, standing alone in a business that has both made him and broken him. The weight of history. Why Rollins feels alone. For longtime fans, Rollins' words struck a deep chord because they were rooted in history. His career has been defined by moments where alliances crumbled and loyalties were shattered. The Shield's betrayal, 2014. Perhaps the most defining moment of his career was when Rollins swung the steel chair that shattered the Shield. In aligning himself with the Authority, he gained championship gold, but lost the brotherhood of Roman Reigns and Dean Ambrose. Fans never forgot, and neither did Rollins. That betrayal, while storyline-driven, etched his character as a man willing to sacrifice companionship for ambition. The Authority's puppet. As the so-called chosen one of Triple H and Stephanie McMahon, Rollins enjoyed success but endured whispers that he couldn't do it alone. Every victory came with an asterisk, every achievement undermined by the perception that he was a pawn. Rivalries with brothers. His feuds with Ambrose and Reigns were brutal, personal, and drenched in themes of family gone sour. Even when he reunited with them in temporary Shield comebacks, there was always an undercurrent of distrust. Modern isolation. More recently, Rollins has stood as a polarizing figure, loved for his in-ring brilliance and charisma, yet often portrayed as a lone wolf. Even as World Heavyweight Champion, he carried himself not as the leader of a faction, but as an individual trying to hold the brand together on his own. When Rollins said in his promo that he knows what it's like to walk alone, it wasn't just a line, it was a career-long confession. The raw emotion of the promo. What made the promo so impactful wasn't just what Rollins said, but how he said it. His voice wavered at times, betraying emotion beneath his usual confident cadence. He spoke slowly, deliberately, as though weighing every word. I've had friends, I've had brothers, I've had allies, and every single one of them, sooner or later, left me behind. Or I left them. That's the curse of Seth Rollins. I fight, I bleed, I win, but I do it alone. The line hung heavy in the air. Fans watching at home flooded social media, noting how this didn't feel like scripted WWE television. This felt like Rollins tearing down the fourth wall, exposing the loneliness that comes with being at the top. The fans' perspective. Over the years, the WWE Universe has had a complicated relationship with Seth Rollins. Many respect his unmatched work ethic. He's known as one of the hardest working wrestlers in the world, carrying brands, putting on five-star matches, and rarely taking time off. Yet fans have also criticized him for controversial comments on social media, for leaning into company loyalty over fan outcry, and for occasionally lacking consistency in his character direction. This promo resonated because it addressed those complexities head-on. Fans saw the duality, the superstar who has everything, titles, fame, recognition, but also the man who feels isolated in his own success. In that moment, Seth wasn't just a WWE character. He was a mirror of the struggles many feel. The loneliness of ambition, the alienation of pursuing greatness at all costs, the symbolism of being alone. In wrestling, themes of isolation and betrayal are recurring motifs. But Rollins' promo was unique in how it reframed the concept of being alone, not as weakness, but as a strange kind of strength. He acknowledged that solitude has cost him relationships, but also that it has forged him into a survivor. For fans who trace his journey, this symbolism is powerful. The Shield was about brotherhood. The Authority was about reliance. The Visionary is about independence. This promo tied them all together, suggesting that Rollins' true destiny isn't to be part of a team or a faction, but to stand alone, facing whatever comes, carrying the weight of his choices. Impact on storylines moving forward. WWE rarely lets promos this raw go to waste. Rollins' declaration of solitude could set the stage for major developments. A solo war against factions. With groups like the Bloodline, Judgment Day, and Imperium dominating WWE, Rollins' stance as a one-man army could define him as the lone resistance. It's a story of individuality versus collective power and underdog despite his champion status. A potential heel turn? While the promo leaned more sympathetic, WWE could use his loneliness as a springboard for bitterness. If Rollins feels abandoned, he could lash out, blaming the fans or the company for isolating him. An emotional feud with a former ally. His references to betrayal opened the door for revisiting old rivalries. Could Dean Ambrose, now Jon Moxley outside WWE, have been on his mind? Could Roman Reigns reappear in his story, forcing a collision of their legacies once again? Mentorship or rejection of new allies. Younger superstars might look to align with Rollins, only for him to reject them, further cementing his alone status. Or perhaps someone breaks through his walls, creating a surprising alliance. Comparisons to wrestling legends. Seth Rollins' journey in this promo in particular echoes the paths of wrestling legends who grappled with isolation. Shawn Michaels in the late 90s, tortured by his own demons. Bret Hart, disillusioned with betrayal from both colleagues and management. Even CM Punk, who constantly framed himself as a lone wolf battling against the machine. But what makes Rollins unique is how he balances vulnerability with flamboyance. He's not just a brooding loner, he's a visionary who wears outrageous suits, laughs maniacally, and embraces spectacle. That contrast makes his loneliness all the more compelling. The louder the outfit, the quieter the heart behind it. Fan reaction, a mixture of shock and respect. The WWE Universe responded with an outpouring of respect for Rollins' promo. Clips went viral on Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram, with fans praising the authenticity of his delivery. Comments range from, "That's the realest thing Rollins has ever said," to "This is why he's the best in the world right now." Some even speculated whether Rollins was speaking more to real-life feelings than to storyline. With a grueling schedule, pressure to carry the company, and the constant comparisons to peers like Roman Reigns, it's easy to imagine Rollins channeling genuine emotion into his words. The legacy of Seth Rollins. This promo could mark a turning point in Rollins' legacy. While he's already a surefire Hall of Famer, moments like this add depth to his narrative. They remind fans that championships and accolades aren't the only measures of greatness. Vulnerability, honesty, and storytelling matter just as much. For Seth, declaring his solitude isn't just about alienation. It's about embracing his identity. Whether cheered or booed, whether champion or challenger, he is Seth freaking Rollins. A man who walks his own path, no matter how lonely it may be.